Welcome to the Weekend Warriors Fishing Podcast, presented by 13 Fishing Canada. Make your own luck. We're here to scratch that angling itch and talk everything fishing. Join us as we sit down with special guests from across the industry. Now, here's your hosts, Logan Lewis
and Jesse Cadron.
Episode 104 of the Weekend Warriors Fishing Podcast. Coming at you here, I'm joined once again by my co-host, Jesse Cadron. And for those of you who have not listened before, I am Logan Lewis, and we are very happy to have you tuning in today. We've got a pretty cool one. I personally didn't know Jake before this. I found out as we were starting to record that Jesse actually knew Jake. I thought he had just saw him on Instagram and thought he'd be good to have on. So I think this is going to be a pretty cool episode. We've got Jake Malolepzy.
That's right.
Yeah, wanted to say that right. I had it written down here with the little hyphens, so I knew how to say it. You obviously say it a little bit quicker, but no, this is a pretty cool episode. Jake has guided all over the place. We talk a lot about salmon, some myths behind maybe how they evolved. We get into that later on in the episode. Gonna want to stay tuned for that. It was pretty good, but yeah, lots of great stories. We'll definitely have Jake on again, as it was a ton of fun, and I'm sure he's got some great stories from all his travels. But before we get into the episode, Jesse's back from Moose Camp. I don't know if you want to say back. He's not home. He's at Deer Camp now. So how's things going with you?
Oh, things are good, Logan. You could say I'm back. I mean, I'm back.
You're in service. We can record
in civilization. I'm back on the pod. It feels good. It was really nice to be able to sit down with Jake tonight and just talk fishing, because like the last 45 days of my life and the next 45 days of my life will be hunting orientated only. So it's I got to say, it's really nice to sit down and talk fishing and learn a bit, and to see you and to talk with you again. It's been a pleasure as always. And yeah, I think the people are really going to like having Jake on. He's, high energy, high information, and a very knowledgeable guy who speaks volumes more than like his age. You know, it's
the amount he can remember too.
Yeah, the guy's sharp, way sharper than I'll ever be. So, I didn't realize you didn't know that I actually knew him and like had a connection with him in person.
No, do you want me to go to our text message?
Yeah, sure.
I'll pull it up here. What'd you say?
I just assumed. I
don't know if I can find it here. No, I'll keep looking for it as we do this intro here. But yeah, I hadn't put it together, or I totally missed it.
Oh,
that you knew him, but you guys met up at Lac Lamart. We didn't really talk about it too much in the episode, right? So that was what you guys said, 2018.
2018, yeah. My first year at Lac Lamart, he came in for, I think he did the last half of the season, he said. Yeah. So that's where this all originated. Okay. And we've never met back in person since, but we've tried. Okay. It just hasn't worked out. I mean, two guides going many places.
Typical me, I just like when I was in school, I would read half of a question and start answering it on a test. You said yesterday you never met at Far Out Fly Guide, hey? And I said, no, what's the deal? And then you said, full-time guide, all fly now, basically chase Atlantic salmon and sea run browns all over the place, Argentina, Norway, Quebec. Really fun, high-energy guy. I could ask him about a podcast. So I guess I could see when you said you've never met him, hey, but I was like, how does he know he's high energy? So I went to Jake's profile. I'm like he's got some videos, but he's not really talking at him. So I don't know what's going on here. But,
right. I never did specify like, hey, I know this guy.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
All right.
But so that was a pleasant surprise, because I was like, I know nothing about salmon. I don't know how this is going to go, but I think it'll be interesting. Which
as our listeners will find out, apparently neither do I.
Yeah, true. Jesse knows further than nothing. But we want to keep this intro short here, because this is about an hour episode. So obviously, quickly hop into the sponsors here. I've got 13 Fishing Canada behind me if you're watching the video version. presenting sponsor of the show. Very thankful to have them on since the start here. I told Jesse I was going to get something. I've got their new bait striker reel here for ice fishing. They didn't have a bait runner style reel before, so this is going to be going on my dead stick. If you are watching the video, once again, you'll be able to see it here. But nice, clean color. It's that new, like, I don't know if I was seeing it on like Toyota Tacomas with that brown.
Yeah.
Like that brown kind of creamy color to it, and feels really nice, solid. Been looking for what?
What's that switch on the back of the reel? Is that your anti-reverse there?
Yeah, anti-reverse here.
No, the black one. The black one.
Oh, so you've never used a bait runner before, then?
I guess not. No.
So it's just like a 2-drag system, right?
Oh, it's like your bait clicker. It's like your your bait clicker on an open face reel.
Nice. Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Like this has, so I've got a drag down here at the bottom.
Yeah.
That's for when I've got that clicked on, and then your usual one on the top here.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So, and then when you reel,
I've never seen that technology on a spinning reel. Only on level lines bait casters.
Okay. Yeah. So, yeah, I've never used the anti-reverse in my life. I don't know.
Yeah.
Unless there's some aspect of fishing I am unaware of. They just seem like the worst thing ever, but they're on every spin reel pretty well.
Yeah.
I don't know why, but maybe I'm totally out to lunch on something, but every spin reel ever seems to have them. But yeah, on the back here. So the nice thing is, I guess, I'll explain for you. Most listeners probably know, but I'll explain for you. Very nice for a dead stick. Very nice for a dead stick rod.
I get the applications. Holy.
Okay.
I've just never seen it on a spinning reel before.
Yeah. And these are currently only available in the ice size. I don't know if this is a 1,000. Yeah, it's a 1,000. So looking forward to that. It's nice that they have one now. I had one from another, I don't know if it was Penn or what, that I'd been using sometimes, but just nice. As we know, many of our what are they called? Nah, it's just totally blanked on it. Dead sticks. Many of your dead stick lines, or if you're using, I don't know, a finicky fooler or iFish Pro, something like that, it's nice to have these kind of setups because you can just walk up, reel a little bit, click that normal drag back in, and you're good to go. So
that's super cool.
Definitely looking forward to that. Going to spool that up with some of the Suffix ice braid, and we'll be money. But
nice.
Yeah, big thanks to 13 Fishing. I ordered that like on Friday, and it showed up on Monday or something like that. Like I always mention,
awesome.
Crazy quick. So that's nice there. But you can use the code Weekend Warriors. That's WKND Warriors. Jesse's smiling because I always spell it out like that. 15% off.
People gotta know.
People gotta know. It'll be in the show notes as well, but off the entire Rapala Canada website. I did see some stuff they were talking about on Instagram of some like micro lipless cranks as well with some glow to them. So even smaller than their smallest size rip and wrap, I believe. So those will be pretty sweet to use as well for perch, crappie, whatever kind of panfish. But yeah, head over to Rapala Canada website, use code Weekend Warriors, and save yourself 15% off. Next up, Saskatchewan Wildlife Federation. I was actually on wildlife land this weekend. Beautiful. Never been there before. We got a dog. She was born Boxing Day and kind of trying to train her up. I've never had a dog for hunting. It was great out there for that. It's just 2 quarters of land, and it's just barren farmland on all the quarters around there. But what they've done with with that land there was pretty cool. Like tree lines upon tree lines, Caragana rows. I think there was some fern rows as well. Like just crazy. And it's nice to see when everything else is just flat farmland. But that's just some of the perks of getting your Saskatchewan Wildlife membership. There's the magazine that I enjoy reading while I'm having breakfast. You get some insurance, and you just get to be part of a really good community. They also are in charge of the fish cultivation station here in Saskatchewan. That's a big thing, especially once we get into early ice here for those stock trout waters. And then once we're into April, when all the other regular seasons are closed, some guys are still hitting up the trout. So huge thanks to the Saskatchewan Wildlife Federation, as always, for being another sponsor of the show. You got anything to add to those two, or are we going to hop into the interview here now?
I think we're good to roll right into it.
Awesome. Well, we hope you enjoy episode 1 of, I'm sure, quite a few more to come with Jake Mallow.
Welcome, everyone, to episode 104. We got a really good episode here. I'm sitting down with my long-lost brother, Mr. Jake Malolepzy, otherwise known as Far Out Fly Guide on Instagram. Maybe you've seen some of his stuff before. He's all over the world chasing all sorts of good fish. Really heavy into the salmon scene, which we're going to talk about quite heavily in this episode, I'm sure. But first off, I'm here joined with, of course, Logan Lewis. And Jake, how are you doing, my friend? It's nice to see you.
Well, pretty good, man. Thanks for guys having me on here. This is a new experience for me. Nice that you caught me in a little bit of downtime, so it worked out good.
Yeah, you're a busy guy. You're not hard to get a hold of, but you're hard to pattern.
Hard to pattern, yeah. The unpatternable.
Yeah. Be ashamed to try to track you down.
Well, you could probably bait me with food, but that's about it.
That's good. And probably like a nice cold IPA or something.
Yeah. Hazier the better, yeah.
Hazier the better. Nice.
So fit into the Fly Guy characters there.
Yeah.
Well, no,
Lots of hops.
Lots of hops. I think it'd be good, Jake, just to tell the people a little bit about yourself, who you are, what you do, what's keeping you busy, and then we'll get into to more of your experience after that.
Jeez, okay, put me on the spotlight here. Well, as Jesse said, my name's Jake Malolepzy. I've been a fishing guide since I was 16 years old, so I'm going on year 12 now, almost year 13, as I'm 28. I started guiding in the Northwest Territories on Great Slave, and then kind of bounced around Canada for the first 8 years or so of my career. In Northern Ontario, Northern Saskatchewan, Northwest Territories where I met Jesse, Tree River, Nunavut, Great Bear, and then in the last few years, 4 to be exact, 2019, or I guess it's 6 years ago, 2019, I moved out west to Terrace, BC. Started my career as a steelhead and salmon guide, moved out here, been doing that ever since. And then, 4 years ago, I started guiding internationally. I went to Argentina. I've done sea trout on the Rio Gallegos. And then I got a gig guiding salmon in Norway. So now I guide Norway salmon, salmon in Sweden, also on the Restigouche on the eastern side of Canada, on the border of Quebec. And currently I'm on a week off from guiding in northern BC here in Terrace on the Nass River. Not tomorrow, but on Friday, I fly back in on a helicopter to finish out the season for 12 more days. But it's going to be cold, so yeah, it's I'm kind of all over the map. I don't even know where to start, where to begin.
Yeah, that's a list.
I think it'd be interesting to begin with, how do you make those jumps? Like, how do you go from where you started to, I guess, like, it kind of seems like you had like, what, 3 or 4 steps there?
Yeah, so the thing is like, when I started guiding when I was 16, I didn't even know guiding was a real thing. Like, I knew people went to fishing lodges, but I didn't know you could get paid to take people fishing. Yeah, basically my neighbor, when I grew up, I used to go and buy all his old fishing tackle, and he was just like an older guy, and he always fished and whatever. It was he came over when I turned 16, and he's like, "Hey, you want to be a fishing guide?" And I was like, "Fishing guide? What the heck's that?" He's like, "Yeah, basically you get paid to go take people fishing." And he's like, "You bought enough stuff off of me over the years, and I always see you bike past my house. Now you got a car, so you're driving past my house. You got to be old enough, to maybe want a job." And I was actually working at a trout farm in high school. And I was like, yeah, I'd like to do that. And he introduced me to this guy, Jeff, who was the head guide on Trout Rock Lodge. And basically, I had a chat with the guy for 2 hours at his house and had a beer. Don't tell my parents, but I had a beer. And he was just like, yeah, you seem pretty keen. And kind of talked about, my fishing career and what I wanted to do. And basically hired me on the spot and said he didn't have the opportunity when he was my age. He started guiding at like 35 or something, and he's like, 16's if you're a ripe age and you're ready to do it. And he's like, you seem pretty keen. And then 3 months after that, I flew up to Northwest Territories and started up there. And then I think the biggest thing for me was just keeping myself in the motion. Like I knew I wanted to be a fishing guide. Once my first year up there, I was like guiding people from all over the world, and like guys that owned like, Fortune 500 companies to like, guys who are like garbage men that saved for 5 years, all these kinds of people. And then I was like, okay, to keep doing this, you just got to keep being consistent. So I would just like every summer I would apply for a new gig because I wanted to see what I liked in the career more. And I was, I was doing spinning stuff, like spinning and fly back then. And then I think I turned 18 and I was working at a lodge in Northern Ontario on Lac Sewell for walleye. And I, halfway through the summer of like 50,000 walleye, trolling with a spinner blade and a leech. I was like, okay, I don't think this walleye bottom bouncing thing's for me. And I was like the only fly guy at the lodge, and they're all like, you don't fly fish here and whatever. And then I basically made the leap from there. And then actually I did a road trip in 2014, the year I met Tim, who Jesse knows. We drove across Canada to BC to Smithers to do steelhead, and like we, just trout bums. Me, Tim, and another guy basically packed into a Forester, drove all the way across Canada, had an absolute riot of a time, had no money by the time I got to BC, lived in a tent for 10 days on the side of the river, caught one steelhead, and I was like, this is where I want to be.
This is what I want to do.
This is the life, dude. I was 18. Tim was a lot older. My buddy Max McKinstry from the UK, he was older. So like they were going to go to the bars, and I was like 18, and in BC it's 19 is the age. And I was like, I always looked a little older, so I was like, okay, let's see if we can go. And then, first beer at a bar was there, first strip club was there. It was not a really good thing to say, but it was there. And it just the whole atmosphere of BC, right? It's just like I knew that's where I needed to be, and I was still living in Ontario at the time. And basically every year I just apply to like 100 emails sitting at Christmas on my laptop. Hey, this is who I am. This is what I want to do. Send it off to everybody out on the West Coast. And like nobody looked at me for years because I'd only been guiding for like maybe 4 years at the time, 5 years. And as you guys know, once you kind of get into it's not a 10-year, but it's a 10-year, you know what I mean?
Yeah, you got to have some reputation behind you, or at least a good voice. A good reference.
Yeah. I don't know what you're talking about, Jesse. Is it fair to say it's different out on the coast than maybe other lodges?
Yeah.
As far as getting a job?
I would say yeah, because there's such a high demand for it. I think that's the problem, is because it is the mecca of steelhead in the world. It was a very high demand. So like if some guide left, there was another guide filling in a spot. And there's only so many places and so many, doors to be open to get into. And it took me 5 years, basically, 4 years until I even got a reply. And I was sending like 100 emails every winter, like, hey, this is what I want to do, who I am. And then I remember I was sitting on the ice. I was doing an ice fishing show with a couple friends, Davis and Lady Bass. And we were fishing a golf course pond, filming a video, and I caught like this massive like 15-pound carp through a 6-inch hole on a 2-pound test. It was like this cool thing. And I remember we're sitting on the ice, whatever, filming this show, and I got this call, and it was from BC, and I'm like, oh, it's a spam number, so I picked it up. I'm like, yeah, what do you want? Just as a normal person would if you knew it was spam. Like, yeah, what do you want, buddy? What do you know? And it was like, he's like, oh, hey, my name is so and so. I work for this lodge in BC, and I was like, oh shit, like I'm sorry. Hey guys, I gotta go. So I like went to the other side of the little golf course pond and talked to this guy for 2 hours, and he hired me on the spot basically. So, and that was the winter of 2018. That just after I'd spent that fall season up at Lac La Martre with you, Jesse.
Right.
And then. I moved out, basically flew out, kind of guided 3 weeks for him, and then he's like, yeah, well, we want to hire you on for the summer season, like, showed him my stuff or whatever, and then basically called my dad and bought a brand new truck and drove across Canada, like 14 days after I flew back home, and never looked back. And it's just awesome. Like now over the years, you just meet enough people, and then that's how it kind of turned into Argentina, going down there for sea trout, guiding for sea trout down there, on the Gallegos, on the Rio Grande, on the Santa Cruz, and then same thing with Norway and Sweden. Everything just kind of tumbles on And I'm super blessed. Like I don't say I don't believe in luck, but I am a big believer in everything happens for a reason. And if you put in good vibes to everything, you're gonna receive it back. And I think you just gotta. I mean, I'm super super blessed for sure. It's just everything keeps rolling on. You know, it's not all easy. Like there's been times where places I've gone has been like terrible, and you still stick out the season because you don't want to burn a bridge, or you get stuffed in a grain bin with 15 other guides, and nobody showered in 4 weeks.
It must have been Colby. That wasn't me.
It's all no, not Colby. But yeah, no, it's been a ride, man, and honestly, I mean, I'm 28 now. I don't have any inclination to stop. I'm just like every year there's new opportunities, and it's a good thing to have the problem, but it's like I have a hard time saying no to something new when I love something also. So it's just like it's a good problem to have, I guess, is you just keep kind of trying to ramble on to the next thing and just. But it's a nonstop gig. It's like, I mean, even though I probably only guide 300 days a year, but I'm probably guiding about 300 days a year. But then the other days off or travel on a plane. I mean, this year alone, in January, so where I guided in Argentina this year is on the Rio Grande, which was 100 kilometers north of the most southern point in the world you can drive, which is Ushuaia. And then in Norway, where I guide, is 100 kilometers south of the most northern part in the world you can drive.
That's
so I've been on I think it's like 160 degrees difference. So last year I flew 46 times alone just for guiding. This year I think it was a little less. I think it was like 32. But it's
WestJet dollars.
Air Canada.
Oh, sorry.
Air Canada. But yeah, it's a grind, and there's a toll on your body, but I wouldn't change it for the world, man. Like it's incredible.
Well, you're working hard at it, and you're doing a damn fine job, man.
Well, thank you, buddy. Thank you.
But oh, go ahead, Logan.
I was gonna say, where do you want to take it from there? There's so many different doors.
Dude, that was.
I hope that opened up enough doors, because, like I told you, if you ask a question, I can ramble on about.
I think we got enough for about 3 hours of podcasting there.
3 episodes, yeah.
But like going way back to the start of it, as in just the steelhead lodges being harder to get into. Like I think there, like you say, the people that have those jobs or those positions as a guide, they're not leaving. They're happy being there. They're passionate about it. Whereas there's like a low turnover rate. Whereas in the walleye lodges and most like drive-to places, there's a high turnaround for employees. So yeah, like anyone can get a job there, which makes sense why it took you 4 years before you even got a phone call.
Yeah, 4 years of after 3 years of guiding. So I think I'd been guiding for 6 years at that point. But like the thing is with the walleye lodges and stuff, a lot of the way you're getting into guiding is you're not just a guide. Like, you're maintenance man, dock hand, all that stuff conjoined into one, where like I've noticed in British Columbia is like when you're hired on as a guide, that's all you do. You show up in the morning, you link the boat to the jet boat, you take your guests out for the day, or if you're at like a remote camp like I am, you're at the lodge, you're helicopter and you stay there, that kind of thing. Or your guide, you're only a guide. So I wouldn't say it's a less work of a job. Like you're still busting your ass.
Sure.
But you're just strictly taking care of maybe your boat, but like you're guiding, you're on the river with the guests. You don't have to worry about like food, maintenance at the lodge. Right. It is like it's not a cakier job, but it's more of a just like positional job.
You're not whippersnipping?
You're not whippersnipping. I mean, you might have to I definitely whippersnip my fair share out here too. And
I do remember, I think, getting a Snapchat from you this past year of you winching sticks out of the river with like an old quad or something, or an old
okay, so
Nissan.
That's in Norway. So in Norway, that's a whole other thing. But the fishing is all private. So like when you're fishing a pool, if you go to a normal lake fishing guiding, you got trees down there. You're not worried about the snags and all this stuff because of the level of fishing that Atlantic salmon fly fishing is, because it's such a pretentious thing. If somebody, and the fish that we're catching can be upwards of 50 pounds. So like if somebody loses a fish of a lifetime because of a log in the water, and they're paying 15,000 US a week to do so, that's a variable we can. So like, for me it's fine. I don't mind it. Of course I've been swimming in that water in 11-degree water.
Yeah, sounds like fun.
With a handsaw. It is fun. It's a good time. But I will tell you this, if you're a guy, be careful who you tell you're a carpenter. Because I also, I have carpenter skills. Because in Norway, they're like, oh, Jake, we need which is fine, I love it. But it's like, you might have a day off or an afternoon off. And then the manager will like, hey, Jake, remember you said you could build stairs? Well, can you go fix the stairs? Or can you build a rod rack? Or can you, which is fine. But you just,
yeah, but
you're not just a guide.
It's on the day when
you're a guide.
When you wanted to go fishing for yourself,
Yeah,
or go down to the bar, go see the local talent in town.
Yes.
And now you're stuck building stairs.
That's a whole other episode in itself. Oh.
Local talents.
Local talents. International local talent. Where's your accent from? Oh yeah, I'm Canadian. Heart eyes. That's all it is. Heart eyes.
Instantly.
Instant heart eyes. So there are perks of guiding. That it's not just the enjoyment of catching fish and learning and seeing new places. Of course.
Is this when you said it's all private, like people actually own like the water?
Yeah, so Norway and Scandinavia is a little bit differently set up than Canada is. So how it works is like if you own the property on the river, so say you own like a kilometer stretch along the river, that's private. That's your private beat or private water. So at the lodge I work for, Oldero, we have 6 chunks of land that are private beats. So like they range from like one we have like 4, almost 3 kilometers or so water. The next one we have 2 kilometers. Next one we have like 500 meters. So the way it works is obviously if you own the property on the water, that's your property. So like you can say if someone can fish there, or you can charge money for it, or et cetera, et cetera. So not like here in Canada where most of our fishing is fairly free. Like you buy a provincial license, you go fishing. There might be, somebody has a lake or access. You might pay for access potentially, but you're not paying to like fish certain. Of course, in British Columbia, we have like classified water, so you pay per day if you're not a resident. That's sort of on the side of Norway, and same with like New Brunswick and stuff. It's all like there's some private water. But in Norway and Sweden and stuff, so like some of the rivers I fish in Sweden, like the Biscay, it's $50 a day. You buy a day card. It's good for 24 hours. So then you, as a foreigner, it's $50 a day. So you go and you fish for 24 hours. It's your day card. It can go from like $10 a day, $8 a day, upwards of, there's beats. I think the Oroi is like $1,500 a day, depending where you are. It's really like, it's a good system, because then if you book the day fishing, you're not fishing against anybody else. With Atlantic salmon, it makes a big difference if you have rested water compared to if somebody's been hammering it every single day. It can make the difference if you catching a fish or not, period. Gotcha. So, the way they've got set up is completely different than Canada.
So in these areas, is there ever like someone owns the land on this side of the river, someone owns land on that side of the river, and it's like,
yes,
who owns that section of river? Like, is there a dispute,
yes,
or do you just get the middle?
Basically, it goes to, if you don't own both sides of the river, the one person owns one side, so it's like a unwritten rule. Like if you're fishing, of course I can cast across the river, it's 100 feet. So, but that guy's also going to fish your water. So it's not like, oh, you can only cast 50 feet if your fly comes on my side. But that being said, if it's downstream of your beat, so it's not technically a law, but it's an unwritten rule that like the way we fish in Norway is like we fish bodies. So there's signs on everybody's property, almost like a property line. You start body at the sign fishing, and you fish fly to the sign at the end of the beat.
So
Not body
that
to the
way
sign.
when you
So that way you're not fishing into the next person's water.
yeah your
But
swing
on our-
isn't
on
going
our-
into somebody else's even though
Yeah.
you're
So
standing
you're
on
not-
your property, your fly isn't
Yeah.
entering their water.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
see.
but our home pool in Norway is like pretentiously known to have like one of the best taking spots in a lot of the public beats, which is just above it. So like the locals, when we're fishing, they will always do that extra couple steps to get a fly sweep into our, and you're just standing there like with your arms crossed looking up at them.
That's where you need
But they don't care.
a weighted treble hook on a spinning rod to cast and
But with the blades on it.
with the razor blades.
But yeah, it's fun. No, we've put like decoys in the bushes to like make it look like someone's always watching, and like it's funny.
So legally, no one could float that river and fish. Like the water's protected. It's
No,
owned.
you can. So you can, because we've done it. So you can fish from a boat from in that river because it's not a huge river, but a lot of the Norwegians have like their Norwegian freighter boats, and they'll go up and down the river. But if it's not your section of river, you can't stop and fish it. So like you can use a boat and you can go. So like if you're a local guy and you have a local card, which is like for the year, so you can fish all the public water.
Okay.
You could technically drive your boat to all those spots if you can get your boat there and then fish all the local spots. But in between, if it's private, you can't touch it.
Could you anchor and fish it, or you can just
Nope.
go by it?
You have to just go by it.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Not even troll?
Nope.
Would that even
No.
work?
Honestly, the thing is back trolling plugs for Atlantic salmon would probably be insane. But it's not like a thing over there.
It's not how it's meant to be done when you said pretentious.
For us, because like we're a fly only lodge, we're catch and release only, but the locals use spin gear. Like, dude, a J13 for a 50-pound Atlantic salmon. There's a guy across the river from us on one of our beats. We call him Blue Rapala Man, and he catches like he catches like 2 50-pounders a year on a spinning rod, like a 6-foot medium action spinning rod in like a J13. And just like you'll be fishing on the other side, you'll have a guy swinging through the run, and you're standing there just like guiding him, and then he comes down in this rubber boots on the other side, just casting this right at your feet, like you'll be standing right at your feet, and you just see the J13 swim off, and you're just like, oh, he's gonna catch one, and then you'll get the picture posted on because everything's really regulated there, so like. When you have a catch, you report it, size, everything, and then all of a sudden you'll just get a ping from like the zone. So the zone 2 is the Ratama, which is like our area, and then it'll be that little Sami dude, which is a native Norwegian dude, little Sami dude. He's like 5'2" with a salmon bigger than him by the tail, standing with a picture, and you're like, oh, Blue Rapala Man got one of his fish this week, and it's it's crazy, yeah.
J13, is that like a countdown or something?
It's a jointed Rapala, 13 centimeter jointed Rapala.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Actually, I think I had some from when I was back in Ontario doing the salmon thing. But
That's crazy. How does I think we should get into some of the specifics soon, but as far as all the places you're going, how does the language work? Like I know it's an accent when you say some of the names of the waters, but how does that all work?
So in Scandinavia, so like Norway and Sweden, everybody speaks English as a second language. Like it's as fluent, I would say almost as fluent as their first language. It depends where you go. But yeah, 90% of the people speak English. As for Argentina, that's not the case. So mi español muy malo, but too bad. Which is my Spanish is bad, but too bad.
Gotcha.
But yeah, no, it's pretty easy to get around and to talk to people and understand. And I mean, most of the clients are all from either UK or America or
Right.
et cetera, right? So they're most of the time, I don't think I've ever had, the only guest I've ever had that didn't speak English was my first guest when I moved out here. It was actually a couple from Argentina. I was guiding them for Chinook, and they didn't speak they spoke like hi, yes, no, but that was like it, like just basic. And so I knew a little bit of Spanish like the whole week trying to guide them. And you're like, try to, there's a lot of like sign language and
charades
and stuff, right? Charades, exactly, yeah. Charades.
And I just went through that exact same thing. with a guy in my moose camp. He was from Switzerland, but spoke German and only German. I spent 10 days in moose camp with him.
No way.
But luckily, Google Translate was downloaded, and it was busy though. Like it, and between charades and Google Translate, like that was it. That's all. The only thing we could do. Yeah, we still had fun. We had a great time. But
yeah, heck yeah. It always makes it more fun when it's like that.
Yeah. Well, where should we dive into fishing? Where do you want to go, Jesse?
Well, I would like to know what makes Atlantic salmon so special. Like, what is the big drive there?
So Atlantic salmon, I think for me, back in the day, Atlantic salmon was super pretentious because it was the best eating salmon in the world. That was always why everybody wanted to catch it. And there's like folklore of like rich and famous like kings and queens and lords catching salmon and fishing for salmon. So it goes way, 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 way back. But the thing is, for me, the thing I love about Atlantic salmon is throughout my guiding career, all the guiding that I've done for like pike or lake trout or muskie or walleye, bass, Arctic char, steelhead, Pacific salmon, it's been, there's in-depths of everything, like with walleye where they are in seasonal, with muskie, moon phase, water temps, everything. But with Atlantic salmon, there's so much more to think about. And I think because it was such a learning curve for me as a guide. So like water temperature, how 1 degree affects them, like 10 degrees affects us. And that's the one little thing to think about. Then you think about an Atlantic salmon is a salmon that doesn't die after they spawn. So they return multiple sea winter fish. That's why they get pretentiously so big.
Right.
Also, like flies, the pickiness of the fish, the aggression, the stubbornness, the beautiful places, of course, going to a foreign country that I've never been across the pond and chasing, a magnificent fish. But the story behind them and the culture of Atlantic salmon itself is like, we could all agree that the walleye culture is like grab your tin boat and your minnow bucket and a 12-pack, go out on the lake and hammer out your limit. Go home, have a fish fry, get hammered with the boys, and that's the walleye culture. Yeah, there's tournaments around walleye and whatever, but Atlantic salmon is like, I guess the easiest way to put it into perspective is like people fish for these fish, and it's I wouldn't say it's traditional, but there's a very big tradition behind it. So like you catch an Atlantic salmon, you're having a sip of whiskey, lighting a cigar, you're reflecting on that fish, where that fish has come, where you've come from to catch that fish, where the fly that you were fishing was tied from, the materials. So like whenever I've tied, this is just going it off a spin-off, but whenever I've tied flies for any other fish, I've never, with pike, it's like, okay, yeah, we all know Lac La Marte, the black leech is like the best fly bait when the fish don't want to bite. But that's pretty basic. But when you go into Atlantic salmon flies, and I'll just show you guys for perspective, like you could be fishing over an Atlantic salmon and it's like the same thing. So you're swinging flies for them. So you know where they are, you're searching, but you're trying to get them to react. So like this little fly is, it's imitation. It's a Willie gun color, just Scandi fly. So it's just, a small little pattern. This is like a Fatagorva, so different color combinations. These little tiny things that you would never think make a difference for like, with pike, you could throw 5 different flies at them for whatever reason they want one color more than another. Eventually they're going to eat it.
Right.
With Atlantic salmon, I've had like 13 different flies over one fish and it moved. And I've watched fish move like 60, 80 feet off of a rock pile, standing in a tree watching. And the fish will come up and follow that fly, like kissing the fly with their lips. And the guest doesn't feel anything on the rod, but it's like followed the fly the whole way across. And you're like sitting in the tree like, okay, eat it. Yeah. And then at the last second, like, and we're talking like a 20 kilo fish, like a 40 plus pound fish. And then it just drop off and go back in. And you're like, why? And then some days you can put anything in there and it's just like bang. And that, I think, for me was what made them so interesting, and so my love for them grow so much, because it was the one fish, I would say, other than muskie, that really made me have to learn like serious in depth to be able to be consistent with the fish, with providing, you know, an angling, a potential of angling ability for somebody to catch. Mm-hmm. Which, I mean, any fish can do that to us, but the Atlantic salmon is just like, at least in my experience, level. It can be so easy. You just go and swing a fly, but once you get into it, it's just like, you know, every little detail matters.
Or just chuck a blue silver J13.
Yeah, just chuck a blue Rapella, man. Piss him off, you'll catch him. 100%. 100%.
That's super cool. That it's funny, as you were explaining that, in my head, I was like, man, this kind of sounds like muskie fishing. This is like a muskie guy talking, and then you made that connection there. So that's cool. And I guess the places where there's still a strong population and a place where you can still actually fish for them probably is very restricted as well. Like, are they native? They're obviously native to Norway, Sweden, Quebec, but are they native to Argentina and South America as well, or were they introduced there?
Like the sea trout?
Yes.
Yeah. And so back, the story goes, it was back 120 years ago, the Falklands War. When the Brits came down, Argentina was desolate with fish species. Like, they had like what's called a corbina, or aka robalo, which is like a sea bass basically, that did, you know, was like kind of anadromous, which means like, you know, live in the salt but go up in the river to spawn. It's freshwater to spawn. But they introduced all the species down into Argentina. So like into lakes, like Jurassic Lake is that one you've probably seen on Instagram with those massive rainbows. You know, Bariloche, all those rivers, Rio Lime, Santa Cruz. So like the Santa Cruz Chinook, those are all escapee Chinook pens that have now they've all reproduced themselves. The sea trout, so all the trout in Argentina, so like Santa Cruz, Rio Gallegos, Rio Grande, they were all put into the river, like say 100 and whatever years ago when they were down there doing the Falklands War. But the fish didn't have anything to eat because the wind down there on an average day is 70 kilometers an hour.
Jeez.
Basically every day. So there's bugs, but like they land on the water, but there's not like, there was never a crazy amount of food for the trout in the rivers. So they adapted, just like a lake run brown would, is go to a lake, find food in the lake, but instead of going to the lake, they went to the ocean. And then because the ocean is so plentiful, or was so plentiful down there with whatever it may be, alewife or, you know, smelt or herring or whatever the bait fish is down there, when the sea trout come back, they become massive. Like, you're catching sea trout up to 30 pounds, which is insane. Mm-hmm. So that's where it's all crazy. Started. Yeah.
This is a whole new world I knew nothing about.
And up until 4 years ago, or 3 years ago, I had no idea. I'd just seen Instagram pictures of it too.
Yeah.
So I had no clue. And then it's just, that's the thing about the world is, like, you know, you could be a little Saskatchewan town boy and, you know, love your Tobin Lake or whatever, and never have it. Think about social media. If we didn't have social media,
yeah,
you could never have known what anything other than a jackfish and a walleye and a sturgeon are.
Yeah.
And at the click of a button now, you can be on a plane at a lodge on the other end of the world, catching a species of fish. It's just like the evolution of it's crazy to me. It's incredible.
Yeah, that's nuts.
Like, and you think of that, I had that Tree Amigos Instagram pop up. Tres Amigos just pop up, and it's this huge, it was a viral reel, that huge, what was it, like a Chinook salmon or something?
So that one where the guy's holding it in the river?
Yeah, and it's like the waves are splashing on him and shit.
That's the guy I just told you about, the Argentina guy. I guided him on his first Chinook ever in BC. That's Fabian.
No way.
Mango.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Small world.
It's so crazy small, man. So crazy small.
How does it work being a fly guy with average of 70K wins?
Well, you're going to have good days and you're going to have absolute shit days. And the thing is the first year I was on the Gajegos, all of the guy that I was working for, Sergio at Carcu on it's a small lodge, just me and him guiding. Um, all the guests that came to his place, we knew them, so we knew they were good, capable fishermen. And as long as the wind's blowing from the west, you can fish every pool because as long as you're fishing with 2 hand rods instead of a single hand rod. And as long as you can flick the line up, everybody can cast 100 feet like that. But if the wind blows from the east, look out. Good luck. Because there's no way, like, you could be the best caster in the world trying to cast head on into 80 kilometers with a fly line.
It ain't gonna work.
Almost impossible. You got to cast like sideways. There's ways around it, but it's intense. It's not everybody. I've guided people down there that's seen it in a brochure, and they've caught like one trout in Montana one time on a fishing trip, and like, oh, that big trout, I can go down there, and then show up, and they've like never seen a 2-handed spey rod and never fished in winds more than 10 mile an hour, and you're just like, as a guide, you're just sitting there and you're just like, oh, this is gonna be a long week.
Yeah, because you want to catch those fish just as bad as they do, or more than they do.
More.
Yeah.
More. And they're just like, oh, can you teach me how to cast now? I'm like, yeah, today's good. Yeah, it's 60 instead of 80. Yeah, I'll teach you today. Yeah, fly 15,000 kilometers to come catch a fish in 80-mile-an-hour winds, and you've only caught a trout in Montana once. But it's still, you see all kinds of people, right? Like you said, some are good, some are never casted a rod before, but yeah.
Well, do we want to take this on angle of just focusing on the salmon then, Jesse?
Yeah, sure.
That's something a little different there. I guess I would start off with how come the flies are tied on the tubes?
That is a good question.
Okay, so that's all, honestly, it comes down to personal preference. At the end of the day, like, for me, tube flies are a lot easier to tie.
We should also mention to anyone that can't see the video, or who didn't see the video of you holding
that's
up.
Listening.
Yeah, that's just listening. Jake held some flies up earlier that there was no hook attached. It was just a little bundle of fuzz.
And
it's gonna get
yeah, thanks, Jesse.
You're welcome.
Appreciate
it looked like he trimmed off his beard and took those hairs, crazy glued them, and like kind of whittled it into a ball of his hands.
I'm holding up a crazy glue. See, Gorilla Glue. Yeah, you're not wrong. Yeah. So I would say the original patterns of all flies were all done on hooks, basically, from back in the day. It was all single hook, treble hook, whether it was all tied on hooks. So yes, you could tie them on hooks. You can fish them on hooks. The reason I don't tie them on hooks is because, one, hooks are expensive. If you're buying the right hooks, they're very expensive. And if you dull out the hook, it depends on the fly, but that's, there's 15 minutes of your life gone.
Mm-hmm.
You can't interchange it. So for me, tubes are easy. You tie them on tubes. I tie very simple flies because, guests will lose flies. So I don't want to sit here for 20 minutes tying something and then them go third cast, never casting a fly rod, and end up in the tree fishing for squirrels or on the rocks. So it's all personal preference. But the thing is with tubes, with Atlantic salmon, once the introduction of tubes were here, you can get different weights. So like you can buy aluminum tubes, you can buy tungsten tubes, brass tubes, fully floating tubes. Like a little guide tip is I actually use pop rivets. So you can
put that in like the palm of your hand, Jake, and hold it to the camera if you can.
Oh, I gotta
like, I don't know, try to like do this or something. Like what I'm doing. Okay.
You see it?
Yeah,
so,
I see it now.
Like a metal pop rivet.
Yeah.
So you go to Canadian Tire. If you don't have Canadian Tire, you go to your hardware store. You buy pop rivets. You buy 100 of them for $6. If you go to a fly shop and you buy a little piece of metal tubing to tie a hook on, you get 10 pieces for like $12. There's a little guide hack. But yes, it's
the fish will know that you cheaped out.
Yeah, they
Still
will.
good product.
They'll smell that aluminum and go, that's meant to be on a car, not in my mouth.
That came from Canadian Tire.
No, there's many different things. You can tie them on hooks. A lot of the traditionals are tied on hooks. Hooks fish nice. Hooks track well. But what I've noticed with a tube fly, and this is, I've actually switched it into like if I tie for muskie or I tie for pike or anything, I like to tie tubes because you hook a fish, the fly swims away from the hook. If it's not attached right to it, even if you have a little tubing piece attached to it, it'll generally, so then it's good again. Then it's not going to get absolutely crushed. If it's tied on one hook and that hook's getting locked in their
chewed
mouth,
up.
It's chewed up, but it's also a pivot point too. So if you've got a huge fly hook in their mouth when you're fighting a fish, especially salmon that go absolutely ape, that's an extra leverage point. Where
100%.
if you have a tube and you've just got the hook, you're direct into the hook, and the hook's not going to have as much leverage because there's not the whole fly or body and everything tied onto it. I mean, everybody's got their own preference. That's why I do it. I've just noticed that you can, for the hookup ratio, swimming ability.
You're still tying the same pattern or the same salmon fly, but it's just on a tube, and you're a line through. It's basically a line through fly. Line through
fly, exactly.
Okay. But it's okay.
It's basically a Savage Gear.
Exactly.
Savage Gear.
Let's just like a line through, trout.
Yeah.
Easy.
Z-Man
I mean, you could throw one of those on a you could throw one of those on a 12 weight, no problem. Been there, done that.
Yeah. And then I guess what are you using to throw these? Like obviously when we're joking about.
We use two-handed spey rods.
Okay.
Mostly, like you can use a single hand rod. Everybody calls them a spey rod. Realistically, a spey is actually a fly. It's a design of a fly, but everybody calls them spey rod. It's actually a two-handed fly fishing rod. So it depends on the weight. Obviously, the weight is just like any your normal spinning rod, medium action, light, fast, whatever. So it starts off at there's 0 weights, but then you can go all the way up to now like 14 or 16 weights for tuna.
Mm-hmm.
So for Atlantic salmon, your basic rod size would say, if you had a 13-foot 8-weight or 9-weight, that's a pretty good all-arounder. 8-weight, I would say 8-weight, you could do salmon, steelhead, Arctic char, all that stuff. With the 13-foot is kind of a basic size. Where if we go into Sweden, like I run a 15-foot 10-weight, which would be like a heavier rod with a longer rod, because you're all, in the Baltic side of salmon. Baltic salmon are a salmon that live in the Baltic Sea and not in the Atlantic, which if you don't know, the Baltic Ocean is brackish because it's so secluded. So it is saltwater, but it's more fresh than salt. So it's brackish. So you got to fish deeper. You got to fish heavier lines. I mean, you're fishing a full sinking line, so you got to use a bigger rod to lift the line out of the water to present the fly to certain times of the year. Mm-hmm. But then you can also fish traditionally, and they do in Quebec and stuff, with bombers with a single hander, a light line, small flies. I think that's also going back to why Atlantic salmon is so cool, is because the variety of ways to fish them is so vast. You can fish from a side, like in Iceland, they fish hitches that you can't even see. Like if you don't have good eyes, they're super tiny little flies. Or when you're fishing big rivers like the Alta or the Gaula, Orkla in Norway, especially in the spring, you're fishing a big 15 centimeter fly. So there's such a huge window of variabilities for Atlantic salmon fishing, and just in general.
Well, okay. that probably has to go with because of how picky how picky they are. You kind of have to have a wide range of tackle in your arsenal. You don't know what they're gonna want.
No, and you have guys that show up to the lodge that have there's this one guy I love. He's an amazing guy, Austrian guy, Gerald. He brings 9 rods and 9 different setups. So on the car, he fishes alone. On the car, he's got all 9 rods. Yeah. So it's okay, he's okay, we're going to this pool. We're gonna fish this first, and this first, and this first, and this. And you could be as simple as 1 rod, go there with 1 line and fish that fly and have confidence and catch fish. But you can also have 15 rods in your arsenal and use 15 of those rods. It's like any other fishing. I mean, bass fishing, whatever, walleye, you could have 2 different muskie, you could have different actions of rods. It's the same. It's the same.
Okay.
Yeah, go ahead, Logan.
I was just going to say, is this kind of the more specific you get and all that, is that just because there's not as many of these fish too? I'm just thinking there's obviously tons of walleye, tons of pike out there. You can, if a fish wants to be picky, you can always move on to a different one kind of thing or find other fish. Is this more of a, there's not many for numbers as well, so it's kind of you're fishing fish that have seen a lot more too?
Yeah, it depends where you're fishing. I mean, of course, the fishing is kind of in the last few years been on the decline because the Norwegian salmon farms polluting the oceans and all that stuff. I mean, a real thing, but it depends on which river you're on. Like, if you're fishing on the Gala, say for instance, there's like 500 people fishing that river a day. So if you're fishing at the top, those fish have seen 499 different flies. So that's when presentation and the speed of the fly and the type of fly to trigger a reactionary bite, because of course they're not feeding when they're in the river. So it's a reactionary bite. So, that's when it pays to have better lines, better rods, better flies, thinner lines, better presentation, not splashy cat, be a better angler. It gets pretty in depth.
And like you say, these fish are returning every year. So like you could be
not every year. So they will return. They'll go back to the winter. I mean, sometimes they'll come back every year. Sometimes they'll go to the winter or to the ocean to winter in the ocean and stay in the ocean for 3 years or 5 years, or 7 years.
They're making multiple journeys.
Yes.
Up
to spawn. Yes.
Gotcha.
Yes.
So like potentially your 50-pound fish of a lifetime has made that journey 3-4 times.
3, 4, 5 times.
Wow.
Yeah, depending.
And seeing 500 anglers potentially each time.
Yes. Yeah. And the thing is what I've noticed is I would say it's like the genetics of the fish. You notice it a lot in Atlantic salmon, and maybe you do in walleye and stuff, but it's more because Atlantic salmon is so like every fish is noted, length, girth, whatever. But like we have a very good grasp on how the fish react to flies and how the fish are. So like the aggression gene of a fish, you notice that being bred out because in Norway it's the right to kill. So of course, which are the fish that most of the time you're going to catch? It's a very aggressive fish.
Right.
So the more you kill an aggressive fish, the more that the aggression gene basically gets bred out.
Yeah.
And the more flies they see and pass on, because when you're giving, laying an egg, they're passing on all the genetics, including, skills that have been learned by previous generations. So like, that's why fish are getting harder to catch, is because they're catching on. I know it sounds a little crazy, but like they've seen it.
Yeah.
They know what it is already. They may have never seen it. They might be girls coming in for the first year and they're like, oh, you've really got to. That's why it's getting harder and harder, and everything's getting more scientific and
for sure. I mean, like that trend. This is off topic, but I'm gonna go there. That trend is very similar to migratory birds. I mean, you look at 80 years ago, hunting snow geese, Canada's ducks. I mean, like all they had to do was throw a piece of tin out or grab some wheat stubble, pull the roots out, stick it upside down, and that's all they needed, or some grocery
and the
bags.
Birds came in, grocery bag, exactly.
And the birds came in, they killed all their limit. And now
they used a little recorder from school to call them in. They didn't have to do anything.
Exactly. So it makes sense that, like you say, you kill with that catch and kill practice being happen. You're taking out that aggressive genetic. That's super interesting. A fish. I think like a lot of people wouldn't think of a fish as that evolved or that like tuned
smart.
in. Yeah, smart.
Yeah.
That's super cool.
Yeah, it gives you another perspective to think about when you're fishing.
Oh yeah.
Like for walleye, for instance, and for pike and stuff. Think about all the advancements of the gear that's come over. Johnson silver minnow. Yeah, it'll still catch fish, but back 50 years ago, that's all you needed.
That's right.
You didn't need anything else.
That's right.
But there's going to be a point where you get to in the fishing where it's going to be like, there's going to be a flip back over.
Yeah.
I think, anyway, from what I've seen, it's going to be like, line through burbot. Next thing you know, they're going to know what a line through burbot is. They're already forgotten about the 5 of diamonds. And next thing you know, 5 of diamonds is back.
Yeah.
There's going to be a flip there somewhere.
100%.
Somewhere in time.
Yeah.
Well, even Rapala with their Crush City line, like the Mr. Twister Tail used to be the biggest thing. You could toss that with nothing and catch fish, right? And then everyone was tossing that. And then they just came back out with their, I think it's called the Crawler. And that's got the twisty tail and a little bit of change to it. But, right, like it's kind of come back around full circle and we're back to something like that. And it works too. Like that was, my girlfriend was just jigging that and catching on it. So it's kind of it's kind of funny how trends kind of go in circles as well, but there's obviously reason for that. Lots of people got away from the twisty tail and went to paddle tail or to like a jerk tail or something like that, right? And yeah, now it's coming back around.
Exactly. Full circle.
I was gonna ask with the salmon, is it so? There's always the jokes, like I made the joke about you with the IPA. Like there's the jokes of the fly fishermen, right? Especially us being in Saskatchewan here. There's kind of like, and I love to go out to Alberta and go fly fishing and whatnot. I would be the definition of the more very not primitive but simplified version of it, right? Going to do that, like, is it fair to say that the salmon world is even more further down that line than what people think of just the typical fly fisherman too?
Oh yeah, salmon is Atlantic salmon is like its own niche for sure.
Okay, so did they look down on regular fly fishermen?
I mean, if you're a guy that goes to the trout pond, it's like
yeah.
There's definitely like a line there, and I don't think it's a bad thing, but like, normal fly fishermen do look at Atlantic salmon and go, "Oh, they're snobby." They're they're hoity-toity, casting their 2-hand rods. I mean, normal anglers look at fly fishermen and think, "Oh, we're baton twirlers." So everybody's looking at everybody in a specific way. And I think Atlantic salmon is kind of that like pretentious, like I said earlier, pretentious. Like, I don't want to call it high class, but like it came from high class. You know what I mean? It originated in like England and Scotland. Yes. Exactly, right? So for the Atlantic salmon side of things, for sure, the kings do it, lords and all that. It is a very pretentious, and I wouldn't say I notice people like look at others, as a guiding an Atlantic salmon guy who's been doing it for 50 years. Do they look at somebody who, they probably look at somebody who walleye fishes and goes, "What the heck's a walleye?" That's just because what they've done. But also the same thing, you will look at a walleye guy who's been doing walleye forever, and what's an Atlantic salmon? So it goes both ways. Everybody can look down on everybody, but yeah, I would definitely say it's kind of like it's not a hierarchy, but you know what I mean. It's like it's a higher, I don't know, higher. I wouldn't say it's toity, but it kind of is toity, hoity-toity.
Right. Yeah. No, and I was just thinking about that because it's kind of interesting how you see, even if you want to go to carp, like look at how differently carp fishing is treated overseas compared to carp fishing here. There is some guys who are serious about it here, and I think we might have an episode on that later. It's pretty interesting with your mats and your cradles and how you set up for it, right? Where you could just whip out a spinning rod with a worm and you could do well too. But I mean, just seeing how different it is overseas, what do you think the reason is for that? Because they do seem to, I don't know if it's hold fish in a higher regard. I don't know if that's the right way to say it, but they like, or it's just different societies. I don't know how
I think it is a little bit of both. I think it's especially for like the carp thing, because I used to be huge on carp. I used to be huge on carp on the fly, and now because I've guided in over the seas, a lot of the clients of mine know carp and fish carp very well. And like in, say, the UK or the EU or Germany or Austria or wherever, everything is like, it kind of comes back down to the freedom of the fishing. So like, because everything over there is paid for, when they pay to go and do that, they got to be serious about it. Like, yes, people love it, but like, there's such a higher, like, we could go out right now just with a spinning rod and a worm and a beer and go catch carp, and it costs us nothing. But for them to go fishing for a day, they got to pay for per day licensing. Some countries have like a fishing license program where they've paid like, to take a test and a course to be able to even fish, to be able to pay, and gear is very expensive. Like in the EU and across the pond, like it is very expensive as a hobby. So I think that's also why when people have got into it, it's either you're into it or you're not into it. And if you're into it even for a day or two, it's still expensive. So it's like the care of fish is a big thing with like carp, and even with Atlantic salmon now is like it's the caring of fish, because they've now seen what can go on in all the declining of fisheries. But it's just they hold it in a higher regard because the lack thereof fish, and because I think it's because it's how expensive it is to get into in other places. We have it good in Canada. Right. We have it so good.
Yeah. I don't
For sure.
like at all the having to pay to like the daily stuff.
Yeah.
I think that's absolutely crazy, but I do like
Yes.
the test idea, like just like you have to for the hunter education and species identification or whatever. It's not like it's the craziest test ever, but at least it's something, and it kind of gets the people, like you said, who are serious. They're going to do it, and maybe it does get rid of some of the bad actors who aren't as serious about something.
I think
right?
it's
Like,
a good thing too.
yeah, like all the posts you see on Facebook, it's in someone's sink. So unless they live on the water, I don't know how it got there. But like, oh,
Yeah.
what's this fish? And I understand that they don't know and they're asking, but it's also kind of, well, that could have been, say, a sturgeon, which obviously can't happen, or whatever,
Yeah.
right? Like
Yeah.
it'd be nice to have something like that. But no, that makes sense
Yeah,
because I used to watch
absolutely.
a lot of the carp videos from overseas there, and it was like they knew like the 10 carp that are in this pond, and they had
Yes.
there's names for them and stuff. So obviously that's different than trying to catch carp here, but it is interesting to see the different ways that they're treated. And I guess that just goes into it too. Like everyone's going to look at who, like you said, someone's going to look at someone who's just fishes walleye, whether it's river fishing or maybe out of a tin or whatever. They're doing the same thing. They're out there fishing, but they're going to view that fly fisherman one way. The fly fisher is going to view them. Everyone's different with that stuff, right? So, I mean,
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
I mean, you try and put some of those people, try and take some of those guys that maybe just strictly salmon, have never fished for a walleye. I'm sure they would look lost to start. I think they're going to pick up the walleye fishing a little easier, but
Yeah, 100%, 1,000% for sure.
yeah,
For sure.
no,
Yeah.
that's fair. Where do you want to go now, Jesse?
It's kind of a reoccurring theme here. Is just that walleye are at the bottom of the fish pyramid. I would just like to
Hey, I got one on my
reiterate.
hat right now.
I would like to reiterate that.
Yeah, Jesse, known walleye guy. That's just because Jesse's never caught a 30.
Well,
Have you never caught a 30, Jesse?
nah, not recently. It's been a long time. If I did,
I didn't
it
mean
was
to
like
out you like
long
that.
time ago.
Really?
Nah, I'm too busy.
Ooh.
Too busy.
Yeah, to be fair, you don't fish for walleye. And when you do, you're going up where you are. It is harder to get into them too, right?
No,
You
I
live
would.
an hour from Last Mountain.
Well, I don't, but I mean, like the last big walleye that I measured for myself, 2020, was 29 3/4, and that's like the longest walleye that I've ever measured. Any walleye I caught before that, I never measured a length. Was a weight guy.
So they're all 30s, yeah.
They were all 30s.
They're
but
all 30. Yeah,
Yeah,
30. Oh, it's at least 31, probably. Yeah.
I've never personally measured a 30-inch walleye for myself, but I mean, who cares?
Well, and
They suck.
Just a number.
back to the fly fishing. Back to the fly fishing. It's like you go. That's what I liked about it. Like when I would head up to Calgary to fish with my uncle, it's like we're going to this river, and I don't know, say it's got brookies, and a good brookie in there is, I don't know, we'll say 10 inches in that river, really good brookie, right? But then you could go to another one, and it's just a different class of fish. So I kind of like that there's different tiers to it. That was one of my favorite things about that. Is kind of you could like, oh, this is a really nice fish for this river, so you kind of felt accomplished in that way, right?
Yeah.
That's something a little different, and it's the same. Like my family's been going up in northern Saskatchewan to a lake for over a decade now, and I think Dad caught a 29.5 there, and then our next biggest after that's like a 22.5, 23. So
Wow.
like other
Yeah.
than that, like even when you're catching the 23s, it's like this is a good fish for here. We're like really happy with that. You come back to Last Mountain, it's like, oh, like come on, right? Like it's just all different there, but it is nice to have different expectations and keeps you happy that way, right? If you're always like, if you're gonna be upset that it's not a 28 plus every time, then I would think things would get pretty boring. But yeah, so not to shade walleye too much. It's getting lots of shade here in this episode.
I am excited for ice fishing to come. Like December 15th, I'm ready to go catch a walleye. Let me tell you, I've been thinking about them.
There you go.
Is that when it opens over there? December 15th?
I'm just like guessing when I can walk out on ice.
Oh.
Yeah.
I'm hoping I can, when I come out to Sask to do deer hunt in a month and a bit, that I'll have some ice somewhere, because...
You should be close, man. On like small trout lakes or something. Yeah.
Yeah, no, for
That'd
sure.
be nice.
We're lucky
ain't
here in
gonna be
Sask. We close for a month, right? Basically,
Yeah.
like regular. So Otherwise, it's pretty well open. We don't have as many species and whatnot, but it's pretty. Our fishing regulations are pretty easy to follow. And then,
Yeah.
like I was just up at Duck Mountains there in Manitoba, and we are gonna keep some fish. And I was reading all the regulations. I was like, you know what? This is gonna be safer just to release everything. And because one lake was different from the next, we didn't have service to double check things. And I was like, yeah, you know what?
Yeah.
We're just gonna play
Catch
it
and
safe.
release trip. Yep.
Yeah,
Smart.
which is fine. I never really keep fish anyways, but I was like, oh, maybe a trout for the smoker would be nice or something like that. But yeah, I was like, I don't want to break any rules. I don't want to risk it. So
Yeah. Fair.
different there. And you mentioned in BC, like I've been, was in, I think it was Fernie for a wedding and was looking at, is it the Elk River there? Yeah. And just checking out the regulations and stuff. I wasn't going to be fishing, but just even for that, I was like, this is confusing.
Yeah, BC's regulations are just, I mean, they're good, but it's just there's so many little. It's not like Jesse said, Saskatchewan regulations are pretty straightforward. British Columbia is like if you're not in the WMU and then this part of the creek and this next section past this log and this rock, if you go above that, it's another regulation, and it's like, oh, but if you're there at this time of the year, it's open, but if not, you have to be classified. It's so like it's good, but it takes a bit to kind of get used to. You got to play it safe.
Really got to do your research.
Yeah.
No, that's
Absolutely.
fair. Did you have anything else strictly salmon wise, Jesse? Or
I mean, if anyone doesn't know, I think it'd be good to point out that when we're talking about Atlantic salmon, that is what a brown trout has evolved from, correct? Am I right there, Mallow? You could be the expert on this, but an Atlantic salmon is a brown trout, right? Or is it, see this? I don't even know. Tell me, educate us,
yeah,
please.
and a pickerel and a walleye are the same thing. No.
Hey, well, I lost points in your book then. I don't even know why I'm on this podcast.
you may as well say we have actual steelhead and Diefenbaker.
Those are real.
Yeah,
Those
exactly.
are legit.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Diefenbaker,
if Fishy's
steelhead.
listening. Yeah.
Well, let's talk evolutionary wise. What are we talking about here?
Evolutionary wise, no, there's no evolutionary wise about a brown trout becoming an Atlantic salmon.
No, not becoming it, but like a lake trout is from the Arctic char, and a rainbow trout is a landlocked steelhead, correct? Like from thousands of years ago. I'm talking about like a long time ago.
Yeah, okay.
Or am I just shouting nonsense here?
No, I don't think, I don't, no. I mean, a salmonoid is a salmonoid. So, like, a trout is a part of the salmonoid family. A char is also a part of the salmonoid family. So...
How about this,
but no.
Jake? I'll try and save Jesse here, or I'll be in the same boat as him. Have you heard that all lake trout originated from, is it Great Bear?
Great
I'm
Bear?
the same. I think so.
That would make sense because, I mean, I guided on Great Bear. I don't know a lot about Great Bear, but it is, I did hear it was the 8th largest lake in the world or North America.
At one time or now?
No, it still is. But so that, I mean, it could make sense that the trout, populated from, because Lac La Marte is a tributary of it.
Right, but so like this is something I was always believed in, was that a lake trout, like evolutionary wise, came from a landlocked char.
No, okay, they are the same family.
Yeah.
Yes. But an actual char, like a landlocked char, is a lake trout. But if you're talking about what kind of char are you talking about?
Arctic char.
No. Okay, but an Arctic char is still a char. I don't know. I mean, maybe. Could be higher than my pay grade. I'm not a very educated person. I'm just a fishing guide here. But I don't know. Maybe you are onto something. But it makes me think, because the char they did a study when I was guiding at the Tree River. They told me that the char there are actually like 40% Arctic char, 40% Dolly Varden, and 10% lake trout, which I can see. That's why they get so big.
I have Google.
Yes.
Keep in mind, this is the AI overview thing that it does now. But
This is ChatGPT says
Yeah, it's saying here, based on the links, that it says, yes, a lake trout is a landlocked char, and it is the largest freshwater char. While its name is misleading, it is not a true trout, but rather a member of the char species within the salmonoid family, with Arctic char being its closest relative.
Yes, that's true.
Okay.
100%. I knew that. Is that what you meant, Jesse?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you say that now.
No, yeah, but it sounded to me like you were like, no, about evolution, like they rolled across the rocks and that's why they are gray and they over time they turned rock gray because the landscape that they had to cross to get to the lakes from the ocean.
Maybe I just
do we got to check the brown trout now?
A dog shit way of explaining my thoughts there. I don't know.
The brown trout. Yeah, you better look. Just for Jesse's sake, you better chat GPT that. Is a Atlantic salmon originally a brown trout that has evolved. We'll put it in his exact words.
Logan, you're typing that in, right?
Yeah, it says,
I know they look the same, but
no, an Atlantic salmon is not a brown trout. I guess I didn't ask the right thing.
No, well, you did. That's as much of an answer as you need, though.
That's all I need.
100%.
What's this? Brown trout versus landlocked salmon? That's not it.
No, that's a whole nother ballpark.
Did Atlantic salmon
evolve from brown trout? Not to throw you under the bus here, Jesse.
Hey,
but...
man, if I don't know it, I guarantee at least one listener doesn't know it. So
it says, no, Atlantic salmon did not evolve from brown trout, but they are closely related. They can interbreed and produce hybrids. This close relationship is why the common names for trout and salmon are often confused, as they may share many characteristics.
Yes, the hybrids, there are gigantic hybrids in the Baltic rivers that I fish in Sweden. Yes, I know that was a thing.
Well, there we go. See, we're learning.
We started from the bottom.
Finally. We're 65 minutes into this, and we're finally learning something.
Who told you this, Jesse?
I don't know.
Where did you learn this from?
I don't know. Saskatchewan school, I guess, maybe. I don't know.
Makes sense. That completely makes sense right there.
The school of pickerel.
They look the same in a picture book growing up, and the teacher's like, yeah, they must be close.
Got the same
I don't know why they
spots.
double printed this one.
Yeah, this is the exact same. The spawning colors, they do look a lot like a brown trout for sure. Absolutely.
What's the deal with Quebec?
Whoa, that's a big list.
Hey, whoa. About what?
We'll stick to the fish for now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's good fishing. I mean, the Atlantic salmon side of things, there's amazing Atlantic salmon fishing in Quebec. There's also amazing striped bass fishing in Quebec, which is really, just starting to take off.
It's really booming lately, yeah.
I gotta look this up. How does this make sense? Oh, I see how it makes sense. Okay. We talking like the St. Lawrence?
Gaspé Peninsula. Gaspésie.
Huh. Okay. I see. I had to figure out how that worked, but Quebec's huge.
Quebec is huge. So where I guide is the border between New Brunswick and Quebec, which is the Restigouche. So it's on the Gaspé, so it's on the most southern point of Quebec.
Oh, the Gaspé.
Eastern. Yeah, the Gaspé.
Do you reside Peninsula. In Douglastown?
No.
Oh.
No. I'm right across the river from Metapedia.
Okay.
Is all that water private as well, similar to Norway, Sweden, or is that more of a public thing?
So in New Brunswick, there's a lot of private water. In Quebec, there's a lot of... I guess it's private water because you have to pay like per day to fish like zones and stuff. So it's kind of more along the lines of Norway and Sweden, yeah.
What do these people do over there? There's nothing.
Logging, fisheries, lobster fishing, eel fishing.
So it's a big resource area, I guess.
Yeah, very big resource. Okay. The Gaspé, yeah.
I've never even looked at this here. I just see it like anytime I think of Quebec, it's Montreal, and that's it. Kind of thing. So
that's like a 6-hour drive from where we're at.
So do you fly in somewhere there, or do you have to drive?
Yeah, so I fly into. Well, I was originally flying. The last 2 years, I've flown into Bathurst. Oh no, last year I flew into Fredericton, and then my buddy picked me up from Fredericton, but it's a 4-hour drive to the lodge. So we normally fly to Bathurst and then go up. But the Air Canada just stopped flying from Toronto to Bathurst. They still do Fredericton, but I think I might take the train this year. For a change, just for something to do. I think it'd be kind of cool to go from. Maybe I'll fly to Toronto and then take the train. It's 11 or 12 hours from Montreal to Metapedia. Get a little sleeper car, and I took a train last year in Sweden for the first time, and it was awesome. I thought it was sick.
Cool.
I toured the southern part to the northern part of Sweden in train just to get up there to instead of flying, because I was like, it's $100.
Heck yeah,
it's kind of cool. Yeah,
sweet.
It's another way to see places instead of just sitting in the plane.
Here's a question for you. As a guy who's fished for a lot, what's your dream trip or species?
Ooh, that's a good question.
That's a super hard.
Is it going to be a saltwater fish?
So the thing is like, I had it's crazy that I can even say this, but all the fish that I've dreamed up until about now, I've had the opportunity to fish or guide for, just for the evolution of guiding. So of course the next ones would be to go to like the Seychelles, Alphons, which I had a job offer to, but it started in September and it goes all the way till like April. And I was already planned on guiding for steelhead here. But it would probably, if I had a dream fish to go and fish for, it would probably, I mean, other than Atlantic salmon where I'm at, to fish the Alta would be a dream, which is like a very insane, like world-renowned river for Atlantics. Or to go to the Seychelles and do like a GT trip, Giant Trevally, on on Farquhar.
Where's the Seychelles? I don't know where that is.
It's off the coast of South Africa.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Is that like did John B do that trip? He had Africa.
John B went to, he was off the coast of Australia when he was doing Jeets.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. At least from what I saw.
That answer. That's a good choice.
Yeah.
That'd be pretty sweet. They look incredible. The fishing looks grueling for them, but it looks insane. Yeah. It looks so. And then the other species you can catch while you're doing it too.
Yeah, bumpies and permit and bonefish and milkies. I mean, it's the opportunities is insane, man. Like, it's really hard to say. Okay, you got one fish to choose, go for it. Because now that I'm thinking about it, I'm like, well, there's a million other fish to catch, like the taimen in Mongolia, or Kamchatka or Kola Peninsula, Russia. I mean, tigerfish in Africa, Tanzania, Nile perch in Egypt.
Just the list goes on. You could, if a guy could dream, man, you'd be busy.
Yeah.
Jeremy Wade, he's a lucky guy.
Jeremy Wade, yeah.
I think he did a Nile perch episode.
He did, yeah. That's exactly where I'm remembering it from. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, the crazy thing is, just like you talked about the local with the salmon there, like there's all these higher tech ways of fishing for them, finesse ways. It goes for any species, really. And local knowledge trumps everything. And like if you just want to go and catch a fish, they know how to go and catch a fish. Like it's insane.
Yeah. Most of the time it's like a hook and a lamb leg or whatever, but you never know.
Yeah. Oh, exactly. Like you look at the Jeremy Wade stuff, you look at the gear he brings and he's got whether it's snapped off, bit off, whatever, and there's some guy handlining these fish. Like it's insane.
Just a rope and a hook. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, on a piece of styrofoam for a float and
that's good. Well, did you have anything else, Jesse? I feel like if we could dive into other things in other episodes when he's free for a day in a year. But
you guys can. I mean, the thing is that there's so much we can dive in on, and I'm so stoked that you guys have me on. This is cool. I've never done this before, and I'd be definitely down to do this again.
And I'm sure we'll find more ways.
Whenever I can fit in time.
I'm sure we'll find more ways to embarrass me on fish education. So
yeah, once Jesse puts it together that a whitetail evolved from a moose, we'll have you on.
Yeah, a rough grouse is just a stunted turkey. It's okay.
That's right. Yeah, they're the minis.
Yeah, from that pygmy island. Yeah. No, That's good. I don't know. I feel like we could take this so many ways, but I think like it's already been what, an hour 20 basically, something like that. I think we save some of it and we can dive into some other ones, like we said in a future episode. And
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
this is a whole different can of worms than any episode of the 104 pretty well, 103 before this.
Yeah, I think we gave the people a lot to think about.
They might be in shock.
Yeah.
They might have written off Jesse because of his evolution thoughts.
Hey, man, I'm just a guy in my thoughts, okay?
Yeah. No, that's good. Well, I guess I'll kind of put a bow on this. Where can people find you?
You guys can follow my Instagram. It's Far Out Fly Guide. I don't post a lot. I just post a little bit. I keep everything pretty private. I'm just not a big social media guy anymore, but I'll accept everybody's request as long as you're not a stalker. And I guess I gotta accept it to find out that anyways. But yeah, other than that, that's all I use is just Instagram. And that's just the best way to kind of have a portfolio these days.
No, for sure. And as far as lodges, most of these are booked out way in advance, but
most of these are booked out way in advance, but if you're potentially looking to so I do guide for myself. I do privatize guiding in Norway and Sweden trips. Like hosted trips, but I know I just set it all up. I also guide for Rescues River Lodge in New Brunswick, Bass River Steelhead Company in British Columbia, Oldero Fly Fishing Lodge in northern Norway, and yeah, that's basically all I'm at. But there will be more to come because the opportunities just keep popping up. So
yeah.
Good news for you: 0.4% of our listeners are from Sweden.
Oh, there you go.
0.1 from Finland, so there's a chance.
Whoa, from Finland too. Oh,
yeah, 0.1%. So there's a chance. Well, cool. Really appreciate you coming on, Jesse.
Yeah, thanks for having me,
linking
guys.
this up. It was a lot of fun, and it won't be the last time because we got
we
got some more to figure out.
This is just scraping the icing off of the top.
Yeah,
for sure.
There we go.
It's been fun, Jake. Thank you.
Awesome. Thanks, guys.
Episode 104. Another one in the books there. I hope you guys really enjoyed that, especially the end there when things got kind of crazy. Some conspiracy theories being thrown out by yours truly there with Jesse. I didn't know where mine was going to land with the lake trout. If anyone's listening and that knows, they're probably shaking their head. We're definitely open to messages. I feel like I get a couple messages every once in a while from Shayna Hamilton, one of our very first guests on the show. And like she responded about it's something to do with why sturgeon gills were black or purple, whatever we were talking about there.
Yeah.
So we talked about that. So she always finds something. So sorry to the people in the science community that listen to some of that or maybe shaking their heads.
I would love for someone to tell me, like, if we got something right or wrong. But I never heard I'm going to go back to the sturgeon thing. I never heard what that causes that.
I don't think I actually got an answer yet. I'm gonna wait till she hears this to.
Gotcha.
It was while they were moving.
I see.
They just moved with Scott, her husband that we've had on the show, also being a CO.
Yep.
They just moved. I think Shayna has a new video about her backyard birds. She has a birding YouTube, so you can check that out, and I'll explain more about that. But yeah, she'll probably hear this, and I'll be getting a text within the next week, maybe. And her saying, you guys are idiots, trout are trout and don't evolve. But other than that, I really had fun with that episode. Jake's awesome to talk to. What was your favorite part of that one?
Well, I just like him as in he's just the true definition of a passionate, hardworking guide. He told the story about how he was 16 years old, started working at camps, and he knew what he liked and he knew what he didn't like, and he just kept working hard and showing up on time, putting in the work, and it eventually got him to where he's at now, working for some of the most prestigious and hoity-toity lodges in the world, and for some of the most beautiful and well-respected fish in the world. And I just think it's so inspirational to talk to a guy who is so determined and passionate in every day of his life. So
Yeah.
it's
No, for sure.
and he's just a fun guy to talk to. Like, I mean, you sit down and have a beer with him, I'm sure, you would have no idea about the places, the experiences he's had in such a short amount of time. He's very humble about it, and
Yeah.
Good storyteller.
For sure. Yeah, I think we're gonna have to have some episodes in the future. Like I can only imagine with like you said, sending off 100 resumes over Christmas or whatever. Like I'm sure there's some places he walked into where it's like, oh, okay, here we go. Kind of this will be interesting. Like every lodge, every outfit's different, right? Some shabby, some not too shabby. Like there's
sure.
some good and some bad, and when you're going around like that to so many different places, I'm sure he's ran into some of the best and some not so great places. So I think we'll have to have some story time in the future here. I think he enjoyed it, so we'll definitely have some cool stories coming up. But you have anything else for the outro here?
No, I think that's pretty much it.
That's it.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, we will probably have an episode coming up about our what?
I was gonna say thanks for calling me out on the walleye thing too.
We're just having fun,
Now
listeners,
are gonna be like, this guy doesn't know shit. He doesn't catch 30-inch walleye. He doesn't know what a salmon is. Like, holy.
Everyone's got to have a rough episode every once in a while. For anyone still listening to us blabbing at the end here, I didn't know. I was just joking about the 30-inch walleye, so I could be taking applications for a new co-host here. No.
Yeah, an hour later in your inbox will be my resignation.
Yeah, no, I'd like to put out a disclaimer that Jesse is rarely around walleye to fish, fishable walleye. He has other species that are closer, and when he can fish for walleye, it's usually in the winter, which is harder. Is that what you wanted me to say?
I didn't need you didn't need to say anything. But thank you. No. It's appreciated. Yeah. I feel better.
No, there you go. Yeah. No, Jesse's got some big lake trout, some big pike to make up for that.
That's right. That's right.
So, well, Jesse's back from Moose. He has Starlink. He will be here for the foreseeable future with these episodes until he goes guiding somewhere again without service or goes on a long fishing trip out in the boonies with no service as well.
This is true.
So,
this is true.
Hope you guys enjoyed that one. We might have a recap episode on Jesse's moose camp and maybe my duck mountain trip, some other stuff like that coming after this one, but we'll see. If you have any episode suggestions, be sure to send them our way over email, Instagram, whatever. Take any suggestions there, but hope you guys enjoyed this one. It's the first of probably a few more to come with Jake, as we're looking forward to some good stories, but hope you enjoyed that one. Kind of in a transition here between fall and ice. Some of the rivers have been getting a little bit of ice on them around town. We're dipping in some of those negative temperatures. Head over to Rapala, Canada, whether you're still trying to get some fall fishing in or you're getting ready for early ice. They've got it all on the website. Actually, one thing to mention to the few people still listening at the end here, they have clam products on the website now. So,
cool.
I don't know if they're actually available yet or if they're still showing out of stock, but pretty well, I think all the clam stuff is available on there. So something interesting to check out, whether you're looking for shelter or flip over or some good accessories and whatnot. Those are also on the website. So something new. You can use the code Weekend Warriors to save yourself 15% off the entire Rapala, Canada website. That's all I got for this episode. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you in episode 105.